Have you ever felt like you're putting in all the effort in a relationship, only to realize that she might be taking you for granted? You give everything, but somehow, it doesn't feel like she's fully invested. It's a tough spot to be in, and it often leaves you wondering, what am I doing wrong? There's an old saying, you don't know what you've got until it's gone, and it's often true. Sometimes, the key to making her realize your value is to make her scared of losing you. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 powerful tricks to make her genuinely fear losing you. You'll learn how to create attraction, maintain your value, and keep her on her toes in a way that strengthens the relationship. Stick around until the end. These strategies will change the way she sees you and make her appreciate what she has. Be emotionally independent and maintain your own life outside the relationship. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something just for you? Not for anyone else, not to impress anyone, not even because it was a nice thing to do, but because it genuinely made you happy? If it's been a while, then we need to talk about this thing called emotional independence, because it's not just a trick, it's a game changer. Here's the deal, when you're emotionally dependent on someone else for your happiness, your sense of worth, or your identity, it's like giving them a leash, whether you realize it or not. And, trust me, the last thing anyone wants is to feel like they're being held on a leash, no matter how much they love you. It's subtle, but it's there, and it's suffocating. I've been there, and I've learned that it's one of the worst things you can do in a relationship, not just for the other person, but for yourself. I remember a time when I was so caught up in pleasing my partner, in making sure they were happy at all costs, that I completely lost sight of who I was outside of the relationship. I let my own passions, my hobbies, my friends, all of it take a back seat. The worst part? I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought this was what love looked like, making sacrifices. But guess what happened? I became so tangled up in their world that I didn't have time to live my own. And when that happens, guess what you end up with? A person who's too available, too predictable, too needy. And nobody, I mean nobody, finds that attractive. So, what's the answer? Simple, reclaim your independence. Develop your own life outside of the relationship. Find hobbies that fuel your soul. Focus on your career, your friendships, and your own growth. When you do that, you become a whole person again, instead of an extension of someone else. The key here isn't just to be busy, it's about having a rich, fulfilling life that doesn't revolve around your partner. And you know what's incredible about this? It makes you more desirable. Think about it. If you have your own life, your own pursuits, your own goals, you're not just sitting around waiting for someone else to fill the gaps in your day. You're showing up as someone who's complete, someone who adds value to the relationship rather than depending on the relationship to fill your voids. When you're emotionally independent, the other person sees that you're not only a great partner, but that you're also capable of thriving on your own, and that is powerful. Here's a little psychology tidbit to back this up. According to psychologists, people are naturally attracted to those who exhibit self-sufficiency. Not only does this boost your self-esteem, but it creates a sense of mystery and unpredictability. When you're independent, you're not clingy, you're not needy, and you're definitely not boring. There's a certain charm in someone who can be happy on their own. And that, my friend, is magnetic. But, here's the kicker, emotional independence doesn't mean you don't care. Far from it. It means you care about yourself just as much as you care about the relationship. You're not looking for someone to complete you, but to complement you. There's a difference between the two. And once you realize that, it's a total game changer. You'll see the relationship grow stronger because you're not trying to force it to be the center of your universe. You're both free to love each other without suffocating each other. To wrap it up, being emotionally independent is not about pushing your partner away, it's about growing into the best version of yourself and inviting them to share in that growth. It's about saying, hey, I'm fine on my own, but I'd love for you to be part of my life. It's powerful, attractive, and something every successful relationship needs. So, go ahead, make your own world, and let them be lucky enough to be a part of it. Be unpredictable and keep her on her toes. Let's talk about something real for a moment: predictability. It's comfortable, sure, but comfort can be boring. And when things get boring, people start looking for excitement elsewhere. Think about it. Do you really want to be the guy whose every move is so predictable that she could literally set her watch to it? Yeah, didn't think so. Here's the thing, being predictable in a relationship is like setting yourself on autopilot. It might get you from point A to point B, but it's the scenic route, the unexpected detours, that make the journey memorable. When everything becomes a routine, when every date is the same, when every text message has the same tone, and every response is rehearsed, it's easy to start fading into the background. And believe me, you don't want to fade into the background. I'll admit it, I've been there. I've fallen into the trap of trying to be so dependable that I became, well, boring. I knew exactly what to say, what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. But after a while, it felt like I was living in a loop. It's like that feeling you get when you watch a movie you've seen 100 times. At first, it's fun, but eventually, the magic wears off. And that's exactly what happens in relationships when you're predictable. I had a friend once, let's call him Ben. Ben was the guy. Everything about him was solid. He had his career together, he was reliable, always showed up on time, always said the right things. But the problem? He was always the same. Week after week, month after month, his girlfriend knew exactly what to expect. And eventually, she started looking for excitement elsewhere. Not because Ben wasn't a good guy, but because the relationship had become stagnant. She knew what he was going to say before he even said it. It's not just about being random for the sake of it. It's about keeping a little bit of mystery alive. The trick isn't to be unpredictable for unpredictability's sake, it's to surprise her in ways that delight her. Maybe you plan a spontaneous weekend getaway, or out of the blue, you take an interest in something she's passionate about. Maybe you surprise her with a text that doesn't follow the usual pattern, or a compliment she wasn't expecting. Little things. Thoughtful things. But things that make her pause and go, huh, I didn't see that coming. There's power in unpredictability. Psychological studies show that uncertainty triggers excitement, curiosity, and yes, attraction. That's why people are drawn to thrill-seeking activities, why the unknown is often more magnetic than the known. When you're unpredictable, you're tapping into that same dynamic. You're creating an emotional roller coaster, not just for her, but for yourself as well. Life's a lot more interesting when you throw in some surprises, when you step outside the lines, when you keep things fresh. Now, don't get me wrong, unpredictability doesn't mean being unreliable. It's not about playing games or being shady. It's about finding balance, being steady and trustworthy in the core parts of your character, but leaving room for excitement, spontaneity, and surprise. It's about making her wonder, just a little bit, if there's more to you than she's already seen. Remember what John Keats said, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." The beauty in a relationship isn't just about the big moments, it's in the little sparks of surprise that you add to the mix. Keep her on her toes. Not in a way that feels forced, but in a way that makes her excited to see what you'll do next. Because let's face it, nothing is more attractive than a man who keeps life interesting, who's not afraid to throw in a curveball every now and then. So, if you want her to be a little scared of losing you, start by keeping her on her toes. Keep the adventure alive. Keep the spark of unpredictability burning, and make sure she knows that the best parts of being with you are the ones she never saw coming. Build your value by focusing on personal growth and success. Let's talk about something that's often overlooked when it comes to relationships: your value. And by value, I don't mean what you can provide in terms of material things or how nice you are. I mean, Who are you, really? What are you working toward? What makes you the kind of person that, when someone sees you, they think, wow, I want to be part of that life? That's the kind of value that makes someone scared of losing you. You see, too many people get caught up in making their relationship the center of their universe. They start to neglect themselves, their passions, their growth. And I get it, relationships take time and effort. But the biggest mistake you can make is thinking that the only way to keep her interested is by giving her all your attention. That's actually a surefire way to make her start thinking she can do better. I'll tell you a little story from my own life. I've been in relationships where I got so caught up in the we that I forgot about the me. And, looking back, I can see that I became more and more uninteresting to the other person, not because I wasn't a good partner, but because I lost my edge. I wasn't growing. I wasn't chasing anything beyond the relationship. And the moment I got comfortable, that's when the spark started fading. Think about it, no one wants to be with someone who's not growing. It's like watching someone park themselves in front of the TV all day, every day, expecting life to come to them. But life isn't going to come knocking at your door. It doesn't work that way. If you're not out there pushing yourself, making something of your life, and working on your own success, then what are you offering? Are you just filling time, or are you building something meaningful? Now, I'm not talking about turning into a workaholic or completely ignoring your partner in the name of self-improvement. It's about balance. Building your value isn't about ditching your relationship or becoming obsessed with career success at the expense of everything else. It's about being the kind of person who has their own drive, their own vision, and a plan for their future that doesn't revolve around someone else. When you're working towards something that excites you, whether it's building a business, working on a personal project, learning new skills, or hitting fitness goals, you're becoming irreplaceable. You become someone who is on a mission. And let's be honest, people are drawn to that. Psychologically speaking, we're all attracted to individuals who have purpose. People who have something they're passionate about, who challenge themselves, who are constantly improving. It's not about being perfect, but about showing that you're invested in your own growth, and by extension, in the growth of the relationship. You can't give your best if you're not at your best, right? So here's the key, focus on your personal growth. Invest in yourself. Build your career, stay fit, develop your skills, and cultivate passions outside the relationship. As you do this, you'll create a magnetic energy that can't be ignored. The more you work on becoming the best version of yourself, the more valuable you become, not just to her, but to anyone who's lucky enough to be in your life. As author Jim Rohn once said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So, if you're surrounding yourself with people who are pushing themselves, growing, and achieving, guess what? You'll start doing the same. And when you're constantly leveling up, you'll make her realize that she's got something truly rare in you. Not just someone who's there for her, but someone who's got the ambition, the mindset, and the drive to go places. And trust me, when you show her that you're building something greater than just your relationship, she's not going to want to lose you. She'll see you as a prize, not a security blanket. Bottom line, build yourself up. The more value you add to your own life, the more valuable you become to hers. Keep growing, keep striving, and keep her a little bit on her toes, wondering if she can keep up with you. Because the truth is, when you're focused on your personal growth and success, she won't just fear losing you, she'll fear losing the version of you that's always getting better. Don't always be available, create space and let her miss you. Let's be real for a second. Being too available is like having a button that says, "Please take me for granted." And trust me, you don't want that button anywhere near you. Now, I know it sounds counterintuitive. After all, shouldn't you be there for her when she needs you? Of course. But there's a huge difference between being reliable and being too available. It's like that old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And it's true, if you're always around, if you're always at her beck and call, it's easy for her to take your presence for granted. You've got to create space. Let her miss you. Let her feel the absence of you, so that when you do show up, it feels like a breath of fresh air. I'll share a little story from my own life. I was in a relationship once where I was always the one making the plans, always checking in, always answering the phone in record time. I thought it was sweet. I thought it was what she wanted. And for a while, I'm sure it was. But over time, I noticed something. The excitement started to fade. She stopped being as excited to hear from me. The texts became routine. And the worst part? I started feeling like I was the one doing all the work. I was constantly giving, but there was no space for her to miss me, to appreciate me fully. And that, my friend, is when things begin to get stagnant. Here's the thing, people tend to value what they can't always have. It's human nature. Think about your favorite hobby, your favorite food, or even your favorite shirt. If you wore it every single day, if you had it in your face 24/7, eventually it wouldn't feel as special. You'd get used to it. Same goes for relationships. If you're always available, if you're always on the other side of the text, if you're showing up at her place every chance you get, eventually, she'll start taking you for granted. But when you create space, when you're not always available, she'll start to realize just how much she misses you. And that's the secret, scarcity creates value. I'm not saying ghost her or play games, because that's a whole different monster. But you've got to find that balance where you're present, but not overly present. Take some time for yourself. Invest in your hobbies, your career, your friends. Don't drop everything at the first sign of a text. Live your life. And when she notices that, when she feels that space you've created, something shifts. She starts to appreciate your presence more, because now it's something she has to make time for. Psychologically speaking, this taps into something called the principle of least interest in relationships. The less invested you are in chasing her, the more she'll want to chase you. When you have your own life going on, when you're busy building your dreams, she starts to see you as someone who has a life. Someone who isn't just sitting around waiting for her to give you attention. It's a power dynamic shift, and it's magnetic. When you create space, you're essentially saying, I'm okay without you, but I want you here because I choose you, not because I need you. Now, I'm not saying you should ignore her for days on end or leave her hanging, but maybe instead of texting her every hour, you give her the room to come to you. Let her make the effort. Let her miss you. The emotional and physical distance will make your time together more impactful, more meaningful. So, next time you're tempted to be overly available, remember this: sometimes the best way to show you care is by not being always there. Create that little space. Let her realize that you're not just an option, you're a choice. And when she chooses you, it will feel so much more meaningful because she's truly valued the moments you've spent together. Keep a strong sense of self-respect and never tolerate disrespect. Let's talk about something crucial: self-respect. I know it might sound obvious, but hear me out. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of a relationship and forget this one thing that's so simple yet so powerful: never tolerate disrespect. There's a line, and it's important to know where that line is and to have the courage to enforce it, no matter how much you care about the other person. I've been there. I've let my boundaries blur in relationships. Maybe it was out of love, maybe out of fear of confrontation, or maybe I just thought things would magically get better. You know, that I'll let it slide this time mentality. But let me tell you, letting it slide doesn't work. Every time you tolerate disrespect, you're telling the other person that it's okay to treat you that way. You're essentially giving them permission to keep pushing the boundaries until the respect they show you is minimal, or even non-existent. I remember a relationship I was in where I allowed things to go way too far. The occasional insult, the little jabs at my ambitions, and the offhand comments about my career, it all seemed like no big deal at first. But over time, I noticed something shifting. I wasn't being treated like I deserved to be treated. I wasn't being valued. And the worst part? I stayed silent. I didn't stand up for myself. Why? Because I was afraid to rock the boat. I thought, hey, it's not that big of a deal, right? Wrong. It was a big deal. And it slowly eroded the respect I had for myself. Self-respect isn't just about standing up for yourself when someone's rude or disrespectful. It's about knowing your worth all the time, no matter who you're dealing with. When you have that internal sense of value, you won't accept anything less than you deserve. I'll be blunt, when you tolerate disrespect, you're teaching the other person that they can walk all over you and you'll still be there, ready to forgive and forget. But here's the thing, you don't have to be a doormat to prove you care. In fact, when you let disrespect slide, you're not showing love, you're showing weakness. It's okay to walk away from a situation or relationship that doesn't honor you. You know what the real tragedy is? Staying in a relationship where you're constantly undervalued, and letting your sense of self-worth chip away piece by piece. You don't owe anyone your time, your love, or your energy if they can't respect you. I think it's important to remind ourselves of what real respect looks like. Respect isn't just about not being rude, it's about treating someone as an equal, valuing their time, their opinions, and their feelings. It's a two-way street. And if someone can't show you that basic level of human decency, you have every right to pull back and reevaluate the relationship. Love isn't about tolerating bad behavior, it's about both people rising together. Psychologically, we know that when people show respect for themselves, others are more likely to respect them as well. It's a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. When you set boundaries and stick to them, you're essentially saying, this is how I'm going to be treated. Take it or leave it. And when you consistently hold that line, the respect others have for you will follow suit. So, here's the key, don't let anyone make you feel small. Don't let anyone talk down to you or make you feel less than. Respect yourself enough to walk away from anything that doesn't serve you. It's not about being aggressive or vindictive, it's about honoring yourself. Remember, the best relationships are built on mutual respect. If someone can't give you that, they don't deserve a place in your life. Stand tall. Be unwavering in your sense of self-worth. And never, ever tolerate disrespect. Because the moment you stop tolerating disrespect is the moment you start attracting the kind of relationships that truly value you. And trust me, when you do that, she won't just respect you, she'll be terrified of losing you. And there you have it, 5 tricks to make her scared of losing you. Remember, it's all about playing your cards right, maintaining your value, and keeping your independence. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more strategies on mastering relationships. Drop a comment below with your thoughts or any tricks that have worked for you. Stay focused, stay confident, and I'll see you in the next one.